they said only 45% of adults, so less than half of adults 18 to 34, said that they are completely financially independent from their parents, which means 55% are dependent in some way of their parents. And this is 18 to 34.
Yeah.
What do we think about this? What's your perspective on this?
The first thing I want to highlight, because I always read between the lines, is even what young adult is considered. Like in the past, young adult was like up to 25. Now the fact that it's up to 34 alone is telling.
Yeah, why wasn't it that when I was that age?
Oh my goodness. It's so interesting though, like just the fact that it's taking people that much longer to be independent. Like in the past, by 25, some people had few kids already, right? Now it's like you're not even married by 30. And things are shifting that way. And a lot of it is economical pressures and just the pace of life that we're in and all these pieces. So this concept actually is considered or called financial enabling. This is terminology for it. And financial enabling is pretty much when helping hurts. And what I mean by that is either it's hurting the person who's helping or the person who's being helped or both. So let's dig into it a little bit deeper. Often when adult kids are seeking support from their parents, not always it's considered financial enabling, but recognizing when it oversteps that threshold and it becomes a hurtful situation is basically when the situation requires further attention. Because oftentimes, if it's like a one-off, or if it's a situation where kids are getting married or they are buying a house or they need support in a certain transition, then obviously it's not necessarily a bad thing to seek the support of your parent. But it's helpful to recognize what your expectations are, because sometimes kids may have an expectation that their parents are going to help them versus parents feel that it's not our job to help you past a certain time, and I am willing to loan you money instead of just giving it to you without an expectation of prepayment. So it's helpful to recognize what are the expectations here and talk it out loud. I know it's really difficult to do that, but it's important to evaluate and check in whether you're the parent or the child with what these things are, where these values come from, and if they're in congruency with the family system as a whole. Because oftentimes when things are not in congruency, that's where toxic relationships are created and
Totally.
fallouts in relationships happen. Even with the best intentions in mind, because obviously parents have the best intentions towards their kids and vice versa, but these mismatch in value certainly creates these clashes. So get clear on what the expectations are, what the values are, and honor each other's boundaries. You may not necessarily agree, and the idea is not to impose your own expectations or values on the others, but to just understand where they meet and where they clash, so you create systems around it.
For sure. Before you go into the second piece, just to comment on what you're saying, I've heard so many examples of adult children who are accepting financial support from their parent, and then their parent feels entitled to tell them how to live their life or weighs in on certain things, and that feels really disturbing to them. But at the same time, with that open portal from the financial support, it's almost like it's giving their parent a right to comment, even though they're an adult. So it's almost like a rite of passage. So anyways, just wanted to say that before you go into the second.
No, absolutely. And it's interesting because I'll share from a personal level. I almost have the reversed effect of that, because my mom has not been in a financial situation that she's able to actually financially support us. She constantly talks about the impact that has on her, how negative her self-view is in her role as a mother to provide. And I'm constantly trying to shed awareness or share with her about all the things she's actually done that are priceless, that money can't even be, there's no price tag on the amount of things or sacrifices that she's done, that she showed up for us a certain way that is really remarkable, and she's an amazing mother. So it's also the other spectrum when parents aren't able to support their kids, the impact that can have on the relationship of either the parents' self-worth and fulfillment, but also the strains on the relationship if there is an expectation that parents show up a certain way. Which
100%.
hopefully in our case, and thankfully it's not been the case, we have a great relationship regardless.